Hello, and welcome back to the Pagan Podcast, where we walk along a path through the woods, across the fields and moors, down to the beach where we can sit around a campfire and talk about all things pagan and druidry on a path of discovery. Everyone is welcome here. There's no dogma and no religion, just like-minded people who are interested in finding their path or learning some new stuff on their path. If you would like to subscribe, that would be marvellous. And if you already do subscribe, thank you for popping back in and having a listening to the subject matter. So as you can see from today's title, we are working with a mystical energy. Have you ever been drawn to dragon energy? You may already feel you have a connection to dragons, but not quite sure what it means. Dragons have been with us throughout history and folklore. In fact, dragons to the Druids were very important. The path of the dragon is a term we use for what is now called ley lines or geomancy, the mystical power that crisscrosses over the British Isles and all around the world. Many lines were starting in one country and end up in another, and the Druids would have looked for those lines and built their temples on them to harvest the energies because they lived in harmony with these energies. You may have heard of a famous hill in Oxfordshire called Uffington or Dragon Hill. It is believed that this hill is where George slew the dragon, and it is still believed to this day that the ground has been poisoned from the blood of the dragon. Others also believe that the shape of the white horse that is on the side of the hill is actually a more stylised dragon. In other words, people were more likely to accept a horse on a hillside than a dragon. The dragon lines that cross Britain are similar to the feng shui lines and can be found using dowsing rods. However, I am not going to go any further into ley lines, as I think that's going to be a podcast in itself talking about that. So let's just stick to dragons for now. It is believed that the Druids would have invoked spirits to protect the dead. Now, dragons were one of those. Dragon energy would protect the treasures of the dead that was buried with them in the ground and in the burial mounds that we often see, which is partly why so many are still well hidden, unlike the Egyptian tombs that ended up being robbed out by the grave robbers. Now, the Druids learned from this probably and thought, we'll get a bit craftier. Let's stick them under a hill. And stories have been told of monstrous dragons guarding the treasures, and we can imagine those stories over the years becoming less about the king of the land's burial site and more about the dragon protecting the hoards of gold. In Wales, the belief of the dragon is incredibly strong and patriotic. Now, dragons are believed to live in woods and hills and are like a sleeping volcano living undisturbed underground. The Welsh flag contains a dragon, and this has evolved through the time when King Vortigern found he couldn't build a fortress at Dyn and Emrys, because as soon as a foundation layer was laid, it would crumble and collapse. Now, a young man with great vision was sent for to explain to the king what he could see. And he told the king that beneath the hill were two dragons fighting in a lake, and as they fought, the ground would shake and destroy the foundations of the fort. He told the king that one was red, representing the Britons, and the other was white, representing the Saxons. Now, Vortigern had the ground dug up so that he could see the dragons and ensure this young boy was actually telling the truth. The dragons were found, and the battle began. Eventually, the red dragon won, and he became the emblem of the Welsh flag. The boy was called Emrys, who we now know to be Merlin. The mountain overlooking the southern end of Llyn Dinas in Snowdon is said to be the original home of the Welsh dragon. I'd like to go on and tell you the story of George and the dragon, but seeing as our patron saint of England, George, never stepped foot on the British Isles and was just a symbol of good over evil by the Catholic Church, and I think across most of Europe as well. There are lots of other countries across Europe that George is famous for dragon slewing. He obviously went around, that was his job. I'll go slew a dragon. I prefer the Welsh story, so I'm not even going to go into George and the dragon because it's one of those ones that would start me on a rant, and we're not here to rant. So moving on, apart from the fact that I would just like to say I think England needs a new patron saint. A great sea dragon had a head like a mountain and eyes like locks, and he lived off the coast of northern Scotland. He could only be appeased by being offered 7 virgins once a week on a Sunday with their hands and feet bound. A young man called Asipattle killed him by riding a boat into his body and setting fire to his liver. As the dragon died, the crashing of his tongue created the Baltic Sea. His teeth flying out created the Orkneys, the Shetlands and the Faroe Islands, and the elders of his time said Iceland was his body coiled up as he died, but his liver still burns beneath the crust of the mountain. I love dragon stories. I think they're amazing. Dragons have been witnessed in many places around the UK. One story is in Devon, in a little village called Winkley, and that in the 1600s a brace of dragons were seen flying, and a man called Simon de Winkley, which is just Old English, which basically means Simon who lived in Winkley, was a brave soul, and he went out one night and drove the dragon away. The dragon, slightly miffed by this, probably because he was there first, returned the following day and ate Simon, leaving only his shield behind, which is hanging inside the pub. And to this day, that is still inside the pub. So if you are ever in Devon, ever in Winkley, which is a lovely little village, the pub literally sits in the middle of the village because I used to live near it. So I've never actually been in the pub, but I do know where it is. There is also a story that dragons fly between 2 hill forts just off the A377. That's the Barnstaple to Exeter road. You might know that road if you've been travelling around North Devon and taken a trip down to Exeter. Now, although having travelled there along myself, I have never seen a dragon. And I now feel a bit miffed that I've missed out on a dragon sighting. And I'm sure across the country there are many more stories, and it makes you wonder, what were people seeing in the sky? Was it lightning, shooting stars? What made them think something was a dragon? Was it just a big bird, or had they been in the pub at Winkley and had a little bit too much ale, maybe? If you're familiar with Glastonbury Tor, you may have walked up the Tor on the easiest route, which is straight up, straight down again, as many people have trod. But did you know that around the edge of the Tor, from the bottom to the top, is a spiral pattern, and it was used in the past as a route of contemplation, perhaps a walk of meditation, dedication, and it takes about 3 hours to walk up and 3 hours to walk down. The spiral is still there, but I wouldn't suggest you go hunting for it alone. It's not a circle that just winds up and winds back down again. It turns back and forth on itself in a very spiritual, spirally way, as they do. Now, there are a few people in Glastonbury who know the path and will guide you along it for a fee, of course. And I will leave links to a couple of those that I have found in the past. I think this is something I'd quite like to do. Although I think 3 hours up and 3 hours down for me, that's a long, not a long walk, but a long day. You'd have to, gosh, you'd need the right weather, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to be halfway up Glastonbury Tor and the heavens open and it just lash it down. Legend also has it that there is a secret cave below the Tor, once used for initiations. And fire dragons are thought to protect caves like these and will only let those in who are worthy. It is also believed that the Linton dragon coiled itself around Wormington Hill as it was dying. It then contracted and squeezed the hill into its current shape. The connection of a coiled dragon around a hill or buried treasure is linked to aspects of ourselves, and the symbology of being coiled up is guidance through a labyrinth to the heart of the world to find inspiration and courage to be reborn again. Dragon energy is very powerful, and if you feel associated with that energy, then listen on, as I'm going to split the dragons into 4 for each of the directions or elements. Each dragon has its own power and energy for us to tap into and work with. So to begin with, we will start in the north with the Earth Dragon. And as you can see from this image, this is the card in the Druid Animal Oracle Pack that I've been using again by Philip and Stephanie Cargom. If you've been following this series in Finding Your Spirit Guide, you'll be familiar with this. Now, the Earth Dragon on this card shows it living in a cave or a mound protecting gold. The Earth Dragon is the one who resides on the land and lives underground. He protects the land and acts as a gateway to the ley lines and energy centres across the world. In some Native American cultures, dragons are seen as symbols of transformation and spiritual guidance. They are believed to possess the ability to traverse between the physical and spiritual realms, acting as mediators between humans and the divine. If you feel you are connected to the earth dragon, you may have stability and strength and the ability to create and nurture in your character. You might find that your home and family are the most important treasures, that they are your very reason for existing. But not just family, also the connection to nature, working with nature, connecting with plants and trees, and being very happy with your hands in mud, planting seeds in your garden. Earth dragons are very stable people with flexibility to be able to compromise. They complete tasks in their own time and nothing is rushed, and they don't always require help from others. They are happy to walk their path and get the job done. Compared to the other dragons, Earth can seem a bit dull, but they can easily tap into the attributes of the other dragon energy when needed. Earth Dragon is here to guide us through the process of exploring ourselves or our hidden depths, the meaning of life, helping ourselves and helping others. If you have another spirit animal or creature rather than a dragon as your guide, you may find that you sometimes need to work with earth dragon energy. Perhaps feelings of disconnection from family, from your roots, your sense of place. Earth dragon can bring you back to that place in your heart where you feel the most comfortable, sowing the seeds of humanity and bringing forth life, nurturing and fruition. Earth Dragon can help you get the job done if you are feeling distracted or can't concentrate on something. Sitting for a while on the earth or just barefoot on the ground is an excellent way to connect with Earth Dragon energy. And you can call on Earth Dragon energy if you need to ground yourself or gain back your own power. And if you have somewhere local to you that you can go and sit on a burial mound, or you can sit where you believe something like that took place, you never know. There may be a dragon beneath you. To the east, we have the air dragon. In this image from the oracle deck, we can see the air dragon flying over the mountains. Flying dragons were seen as creatures of the sky gods, and may be to do with the star constellation of Draco. Somewhere in the mountains of Snowdonia, in Wales, lie the remains of an ancient city of Emrys. It is the home of the Ferald. They were the Druid alchemists, priests and magicians. The city was known as Dinas Afrom, which translates to the city of higher powers, and here the dragons of Beli lived. Beli was the supreme god who was worshipped across the Celtic world as Belenos. The famous bard Taliesin, in his poem Protection of the Honey Isle, describes Belenos as being the rightful ruler of the land with dragon qualities, and it is said that Carolyn could summon the dragons to pull her chariot. Air dragon brings psychic and intellect, and sometimes manifesting as flashes of illumination, but on the other hand they can become a slave to an idea, dogma or religion as like a spiritual concept. Air dragons need to be constantly brought down to earth. So if you feel this is you, then you need to ground yourself and work with an earth dragon. You may be connected to the air dragon if you have a sense of peace and tranquility, up a mountain for example, breathing the fresh air, having the ability to see great distances around you. You may also be attracted to air dragons if knowledge and learning is where you are most happy. If you could sit in a library all day reading through non-fiction and gaining from that knowledge, then you are working with an air dragon. You can also work with air dragon if you need some freedom to communicate better or the ability to reason. Perhaps you need to study and gain some knowledge. I don't mean the energy to concentrate study. That would be the fire dragon. I mean the energy to learn to research and to grow in your own intellect. In the south, we have the fire dragon, and in this image from the Animal Druid Oracle is the flaming dragon of King Uther's vision. This dragon is a leader with strict rules, and everything will be done perfectly. It doesn't tolerate imperfection. It likes to be in control and will check and double check everything. If this is you as a person, then people may see you as above them socially, or you may see someone who is a dragon above you socially because they have fewer friends. They like to be in control of everything and everyone. And fire dragons have vitality, courage and enthusiasm, and an ability to overcome any obstacles thrown in their path. They could also be holding on to repressed anger and be out of control and have a sense of being scattered. If you have too much of something that is becoming destructive on your path, then you perhaps need to work with another dragon energy to bring it into balance. If you know a fire dragon or you think this is your energy, then your best dragon friend would either be water or earth. Both will help to lower the energetics that can become intolerable to others. You can also work with fire dragon energy for help with leadership and mastery if you feel that you are a different dragon. Not necessarily mastering of people though, but mastering a subject or something artistic, or finding the energy and enthusiasm to master something. The fire dragon has laser-like precision to help you accomplish a task, and if you feel you need to slow down, then look at working with an earth dragon, whose ability to just sit and watch and wait can be very helpful to overcome a very energetic fire dragon. To the west, we have the water dragon. Water dragons are very patient, never in a hurry, and quality over quantity is most important. They are very sociable and always surrounded by friends and rarely treated negatively. They bring that which is hidden into the light. For example, buried memories and long forgotten experiences that may have been suppressed can easily be brought to the surface to be dealt with to help us move on. When we suppress emotions, we can't move forward, and water dragons' emotions are almost on their sleeves to be seen by everybody. However, it does bring the ability to experience and deal with this as compassion and courage, and will bring along a sense of connection through working at great depths of the soul. The water dragon can access the other or underworld through any body of water, and it represents the unconscious. And there are many folklore stories of dragons living in lakes, or shall we say, locks. If you feel you are connected to the energy of the water dragon, you may feel an attraction to the ocean, lakes, streams of any kind. You may have a compassionate nature that emphasizes with other people. You may work in the industry of helping other people, especially those who need emotional support. You may also have a job working with water or teaching swimming, canoeing, surfing. All of these are water dragon qualities. You may have the ability to walk between the two worlds, on this and the other world. Water dragons can help in reducing the dominating effect of people, almost by putting out their fire, and they can be helpful for too much fire dragon energy. They are not risk takers. The reverse side to a water dragon is to take care when working with the psyche and past experiences. Now this can bring up different emotions that have been repressed, and if you need help with any emotional or past work, then take time, not necessarily another dragon energy, but water dragon has the ability to cause negativity and destruction if used incorrectly, so take your time to sit with your own emotions and to work through them. You can also call upon water dragon if you need to connect more deeply with your own emotions. Perhaps you need more compassion, more depth, healing, or even passion in your life. All these are within your reach working with the water dragon. This dragon is a mirror, just like water, to our own emotions, intuition and healing. So learn to adapt with the water as it flows along its course over boulders in a stream. If you feel you are racing around, too full of dragon energy, work with the water dragon to dampen down your energy a little and give you time to breathe. Water dragons teach us to be adaptable, just like the flow of the river. So is the course of our life. If none of the above resonates with you and you've just been listening in, then perhaps dragons are not working with you at this time. But if you are wondering which dragon you are connected to, then you can meditate and ask the dragon to show itself and see which one appears to take you on a journey. Or start work with the earth dragon first and let its gentle and nurturing energy step into your energy field so that you have a grounding in dragon energy. Walking its gentle, slow path will help you see other dragon qualities. If you are born in the lunar zodiac year of the dragon, which was, 1916, possibly not. 1928, maybe not. 1940, just maybe. 1952, 1964, 1976, 1988, 2000, 2012 and 2024, they were all dragon years. And the next year of the dragon will be 2036, and it will be a fire dragon. So you can find out on plenty of websites what the year of the dragon is all about as far as the lunar side is concerned. Associations with dragon energy. So if you'd like to work with them in rituals, there is a plant called Dracaena cinnabari. and it's a tree from the fruit of this tree that dragon's blood products are made. It was used by our ancestors as dyes and like as a varnish for wood, as medicine and incense, and it's known for its banishing properties and for protection, and can be used with other herbs for incense and smoking rituals. Dragon's blood oil is used topically as it's anti-inflammatory and it has wound healing properties, and dragon's blood resin is perfect for burning on charcoal discs. It's got a sweet and deep scent, so if you think, oh, I might try some of that, I quite like that idea, start with a little first, and be warned, when you pop it on the charcoal disc it will start to bubble and melt a bit like lava, and you can use it for making tinctures as well. Dragon's blood ink, and I have some of this. It's very red and you don't want to spill it. I've used it to charge writing in rituals and little incantations, etc., and that's quite a good one. If you can get that on a certain site beginning with E called Etsy. Other sites may be available, but quite frankly I've never found anything else on this level anywhere else but Etsy. Dragonstone or bloodstone gemstone is useful for anyone wishing to work on themselves, to open your heart to love, courage and power. It has powerful manifestation energies and setting intentions to achieve your goals with the energy coming from the heart. If you use it when meditating, place it on your heart and slowly relax through the breath work, and let the stone fill your heart with love, passion and courage, and feel those energies pumping through your blood. So that's Dragonstone, or it's bloodstone gemstone. When you look at it, you'll see why it's probably called the Dragonstone. If you would like to add something to your altar for any dragon energy that you might be working with at the time, then choose anything that resonates with you and your energy. It could be something as simple as a picture of a dragon, or perhaps the Dragonstone that you work with. Now, I'm sure there's plenty more dragon energy that out there. Obviously, I don't want to go and fill this podcast full of too much information, because it's good to go and research ourselves, isn't it? And to look for things. As we do that, we open up our own energy field. So if you're going forward on your path and you feel attached to dragons, then, and you want to communicate with them further, then I would suggest go into meditation. But also I will put some links in the description box below, especially the link to a lady called the Dragon Lady. I'm not going to talk any more about her, because I'll let you go and find out about the original Dragon Lady when she started off talking about dragons a few years ago. I hope you have enjoyed being with the energy today. If you have worked with dragon energy before, then feel free to comment in the description below. I'd be interested. I always am interested to hear comments. I love chatting with as many people as we can on there, and it's always nice to hear about your experiences, because as you share them, other people can read them and may think, oh, okay, that happened to them. Maybe that can happen to me. So I hope you've enjoyed it today. Thank you for listening in. Don't forget to check out the rest of my channel, as there's lots more to dive into. I have left links to all my social media in the description box below if you'd like to follow me on any of those. And until next time, much love and light and peace in your grove. Try not to get scorched by a dragon. Speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.